ललिताश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा का नमोस्तुते सप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुष्ठिते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Thank you, Shashwin. Thank you. So we will continue. I will do the pre-prayer and then we will read until Mataji joins. Okay? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim. Yatkripatamaham bande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Shrinvatam Chakatha Krishna Punya Savana Kirtanaha Siddhyantayaha Soti Abhadrani Dhunoti Shuristatam Nashtaprayasya Bhadre Srinityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Tamsyokir Bhaktir Bhagati Bhavati Naishtiti. So today we're going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7. Can you hear me properly? Hare Krishna. Can anybody answer or can you hear me properly? Shashwin? Hello, Shashwin, can you hear me? Who is Eldoret? Iskon Eldoret, can you hear me please? Okay. I hope you can hear me. So today we are reading text 28. Yadvai Braje Rajapasun Vishutaya Pitan Palam Swajivayad Anugraha Vristi Takshudayeti Visavirya Vilola Jivam Vichata Yishyad Uragam Viharan Sadinam. Yet, the translation is yet one who, very certainly, Braje at Vrindavan, Braja Pasun, the animals thereof, Vishatoya, poisoned water, Pitan, those who drank, Palans, the cowherd man, two also, Ajivayat, brought to life, Anugraha Drishti, merciful glance, Vrishya, by the showers of, that Siddhaye, for purification, Ati, exceedingly, Vishavirya, highly potent poison, Vilola, lurking, Jihvam, one who has such a tongue, Uchata Yisyat, severely punished, Uragam, unto the snake, Viharan, taking it as a pleasure, Hridinyam, in the river. So, translation. Then also, when the cowherd boys and their animals drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna, and after the Lord, in his childhood, revived them by his merciful glance, just to purify the water of the river Yamuna, he jumped into it as if playing and chastised the venomous Kalia snake, which was lurking there. its tongue emitting waves of poison, who can perform such herculean tasks but the Supreme Lord. So we still wait for Mataji to come. I hope you can hear me.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
You can hear me, right? Thank you. Thank you. Prabhuji, there is no purport in this for this text. So you can still read a little bit from the previous text again that we did yesterday. You can read it again until Mataji comes, and then she can take over instead of just sitting here and waiting, right? So yesterday's purport was we were talking about how Lord Shri Krishna could perform great tasks even when she was on the lap of her mother, and how she killed the Putana, and how she overturned a caste, which was a demon in disguise also, and how he uprooted a pair of Arjuna trees. Yesterday we talked about all this, and we also read it is Krishna Chatur's pastime. But it doesn't matter. Krishna is baby in the lap of his mother, or he is 125 years old on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He is the same. His potency does not diminish. His beauty, his name, fame, quality, strength, renunciation, nothing diminished. So we know that he is ever youth. He looks always like a 16 years old boy, and he is always so beautiful, like black his hair, and his color is like a cloud, and he is very, very beautiful. So Mataji is here. I will stop, and then Mataji will continue.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. We connect with our humble obeisances who go to Srila Prabhupada. So we have already done the Mangalacharan and the prayers, and then I read the text, and then the synonym plus the translation. There is no purport. So please, over to you now.
Sure, Mataji. Mataji, would you mind telling me the verse for today?
It's verse 28. It's Canto 2, chapter 7, verse 28.
38?
20, 28.
28?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me, I think here I just missed Mataji's message. Probably that attachment was not seen in the group. And 1 minute, let me. Dot 7.38.
28, Mataji, no? Not 38.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Patrayata Deshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskrityam, Naram Chaiva Narotamam, Devim Saraswatim Nasam, Tapojayam Udirayet, Shinvata Swagata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtanaha, Hridayantastohya Patrani, Vidunoti Sugritsatam, Nashtaprayeshu Abhatreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttamasloke, Bhakti Bhavati Neshtiki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hope you're all doing good. And so, as Mataji mentioned, the verse number for today is 2.7.38. And again, it's a from at least the previous verses, the Rama's
Mataji,
pastimes
Hare
were.
Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji. It's
Hare-
28, right? 28.
What is that, Mataji?
Verse 28.
Oh, verse 28. Got it, got it. Okay. I'm so sorry, not 38. So absolutely unprepared class, but we can definitely go over and relish some of the pastimes. So without further ado, we will get started, dear devotees. Let me look at what has happened so far, and then here it has been a Memorial Day weekend. My husband's niece got married, and hence we went to Los Angeles to celebrate the whole event. So we were driving for 7 hours and coming back 7 hours. So it was a 14-hour journey just driving. And then marriage and reception, we attended for 2 days. So it was a very hectic weekend, I would say, but definitely pleasurable because you get to meet your family and you connect with them. So it was definitely worth it. And there was a surprise there. I happened to meet Vaijayanti Mataji for the first time in LA in that function. You never know, right? I was so happy and elated to meet her at that time. And we definitely exchanged beautiful talks during that time. So with that, we will get started, dear devotees. Let's go through 2.7. As you all know, we are talking about the schedule. I mean, we are talking about the incarnations, and we spoke about the pastimes of the various incarnations. And as you all can understand, Manvantara Avatara, Dhanvantari, Parashuram, Ramachandra was spoken in verse number 23 to 25. He was the son of Dasharath in the Ishwaku dynasty. He went to the forest under his father's order. He vanquished Ravana. Being aggrieved for Sita Devi, he glanced over the ocean with his red hot eyes, and the ocean trembled in fear, curbed by the pride of Ravana along with his life hair. He curbed the pride of Ravana along with his life hair. Now, we spoke about Ramachandra. So what is going to be the next? Obviously, it's Krishna, right? Krishna's appearance and superhuman activities are being talked about in the verse number 26 to 35. And 28 is obviously one of his pastimes. Uh, when it comes to appearance, how he descends with his beautiful hair to diminish the burden of the earth along with his plenary portion, Balaram. That is being spoken about in verse number 26. And 27, all the activities of Lord Krishna are impossible for anyone else to perform. For example, he killed Putana, he overturned the cart, he uprooted the Arjuna trees. And then now, in this 28th verse, he chastised Kalia. So these are the pastimes that were discussed before, and today's pastime is Kalia, how he chastised Kalia. So, my dear devotees, I'm thinking we will go over a little bit of Rama's pastime and then get into Krishna's pastime and go over Kaliya's pastime for today. Hope you're all okay with this approach. So let's get started with obviously Rama's story, where we all know about Ravana and how how Ravana abducted Sita, right? If you look at the fourth canto also talks about Rama Vijaya, meaning Vijayadashmi. When you look at Vijayadashmi, how we celebrate Rama's victory over Ravana. So Ramachandra, he is of course the supreme personality of Godhead, a plenary portion. Although he is the supreme person, he is acting as an ordinary person. Say, for example, when Indra sent him a chariot to fight with Ravana, then Rama was directing Vatali, the chariot driver, go close to Ravana, go this way, go that way. And then Ramachandra felt very bad for that because he was directing the chariot driver. He is instructing the chariot driver of Indra. He felt he was an exalted personality. He's a chariot driver of Indra. So he apologized. He said, please don't mind. I'm directing you. I'm commanding you. I'm instructing you. Now, if you look at him, after all, he's the exalted personality. I mean, after all, I mean, of course, we know he's the supreme personality. What he's seeing the charioteer to be the exalted personality. You are the charioteer of Indra. That is how he looks at. And I am directing him. I don't feel good about it. So this is how Ramachandra's mood is, right? When you ask this question, why does the Supreme Personality of Godhead has to come? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaturshrittam. He comes to annihilate the demons and protect the devotees. And we can go back further, right? Jaya and Vijaya, the two gatekeepers, desired to give Lord a chance to experience the mellow of chivalry. The mellow of chivalry, the Lord cannot experience in Vaikuntha, because in Vaikuntha there is nobody to fight with him. So Jaya and Vijaya felt this one mellow that Lord is not experiencing. It would be so nice if we could give him that mellow, if we could enable him to experience that mellow of chivalry. And then by the arrangement of Yogamaya, lot of wonderful things started to happen. 4 Kumaras appeared at the gate of Vaikuntha, and Jaya and Vijaya obstructed their entry because they appeared just like four little children running around naked. And they felt that this is something that this way you cannot enter into Vaikuntha. This is not a place for some loafing children. So they stopped them, and the 4 Kumaras became very upset. They said, "You're not fit to remain in Vaikuntha. You're not fit to be the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you fall down and take birth as human beings. You take birth in the earthly planet, in the lower regions of the material nature." And as a result, we see Jaya and Vijaya appeared in Satya Yuga as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. In the Treta Yuga as Ravana and Kumbhakarna, and in Dwapara Yuga as Shishupala and Dandavakra. In this way, what did they do? They enabled the Lord to experience the mellow of chivalry. What a terrific fight they gave with the Lord, isn't it? And they appeared as demons. Appearing as a demon, they caused so much distress to the world and so many people. Well, this is the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So ultimately, we have to see all this is happening by the divine arrangements of Yogamaya in order to enhance the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now, Ravana became extremely powerful with the boon of Lord Brahma. Ravana performed severe austerities for 10 years. And after completion of 1 year, he would chop off one head and he would offer that into the sacrificial fire. And for 9 years, he offered the 9 heads at the end of 9 years of sacrifice and performing austerities. And then in the 10th year, when Ravana was about to offer his 10th head, Lord Brahma appeared. Brahma asked Ravana, "Why are you doing this? Why are you performing such ghastly austerities? What do you want?" And Ravana said, "I want to become immortal." Brahma reminded him that he doesn't have the ability to grant anybody immortality. "I don't have the ability." Lord Brahma said, "In this material nature, everybody, including myself, is susceptible to death." Then Ravana somehow got this benediction, which is equal to almost being immortal, right? Ravana had the storage of nectar in his heart, and as a result, he became almost immortal. The boon he got was if one head was cut off, another head would reappear. By cutting his head, one would be able to kill him. And Ravana, so by cutting his head, no one would be able to kill him. That's what I meant. Right? And Ravana became extremely powerful because of that. And he got defeated with his power. I mean, he defeated with this power, he defeated many. The first person he defeated was whom? His own half-brother Kuvera. Because Kuvera, he was occupying Lanka, which was actually designed for the Rakshasas and the demons. There were 3 original demons. Who are they? They were Mali, they were Sumali, and Malayaman. They were residing in Lanka originally. But then, by the influence of the Lord, they saw his inconceivable power. They ran away to the lower regions. And in the meantime, Kuvera was performing austerities. He became very, very powerful. He wanted to take the position of Dikpala. There are 4 Dikbalas, right? Varuna, Indra, Kuvera, and one more. And when Kuvera asked his father where he should live, he said, go reside in Lanka. Kuvera started to reside in Lanka. And in the meantime, Brahma also asked Kuvera, what do you want? After being, because he was so much satisfied because of the performance of his austerities. So Kuvera said, I wanted to be one of the Dikbalas. So Brahma said, yes, there is a need for the fourth Dikbala. So you become that Dikbala. In this way, Kuvera became the Dikbala, occupying the region Lanka. So when Ravana came back after acquiring inconceivable power, and he's being instigated by Sumali now. You're the successor. You're the hope. You go and occupy Lanka. So Ravana was first reluctant. He said, see, well, my brother Kuvera, how can I take it away from him? Being induced by Sumali, Kuvera ultimately went. And then Kuvera said, look, I received this place from my father. Who's your father? So let's live together as brothers. But Ravana said, no, I want this whole place for myself. And then the fight ensued. And in the battle, Kuvera was defeated. Kuvera escaped from Lanka. He went to Kailash to take shelter of Lord Shiva. Kuvera is also a great devotee of Lord Shiva. So after Ravana actually started to conquer the three worlds, he went and attacked what? The heavenly planets. Indra had a very, very tough time. He attacked all the big kings. No one was a match to Ravana. Many kings, including Ramachandra's forefathers, were killed by Ravana. And while dying, forefather of Ramachandra, Anarayana, cursed him. Your death will take place in my family. A great personality will appear in my dynasty, and you will die in his hands. So then Ravana attacked Yamaraj. And Ravana was giving Yamaraj also a tough time. Yamaraj soldiers were defeated by Ravana. And finally, Yamaraj came with his Yamadanda. Yamadanda is what? A stick of Yamaraj. When whoever touches his Yamadanda, he is bound to die. Yama came with his Yamadanda and he was about to kill Ravana. But at that time, Brahma came. And he will not be killed by your hand. I gave him the boon that he will not be killed by any demigod. He will not be killed by any Rakshasa. He is not going to be killed by any of them. Only Ravana forgot to ask the boon, he will not be killed by human beings and animals. If you kill him, then my benediction I gave him is going to be nullified. Okay, you understand, Yamaraj? If you're going to kill him, my benediction is going to be nullified. That will create a havoc. That will create disaster in this universal affairs. So you don't kill him. And he assured that the Lord will come in human form. That's Brahmaji is assuring Yamaraj, Lord is going to come in human form and he'll be assisted by his animals like monkeys and bears. And that is how Ravana is going to be defeated. So wait for some time. So Yamaraj then disappeared from the battlefield. And Ravana thought he defeated Yamaraj. So in this way, if you look at Ravana, he was conquering everybody. Ravana was causing a lot of distress to the saintly people. The sages were performing a lot of austerities. And Ravana then appeared to Mount Kailash. He was passing through Mount Kailash. At that time, Nandi told him that again, when no one should come there at that time because Lord Shiva is sporting with Parvati. Ravana said, who cares for your Lord Shiva? I decide what I do. I do not accept your order or I do not accept anybody's order for that matter. So in this way, Ravana and Nandi had some disagreement. And finally, Ravana, he tried to lift the mountain. He was so powerful that even he could lift Kailash. And when he did that, Parvati was sitting to Lord Shiva and Parvati lost her balance. And she held on to Shiva and she was surprised what happened. Now Shiva, he understood what happened. So with his toe, he just pressed the mountain top and it smashed Ravana's hands. The 20 hands of Ravana were smashed. He started to scream in pain. And then his ministers told, ministers told what actually happened. And they said they started singing the glories of Lord Shiva instead of screaming in pain. So Ravana, who's a very, very accomplished singer, he also started to sing the glories of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, who's Ashutosh, what happened to him? Ashutosh, he's so pleased. He was so pleased. Not only he released the pressure of his toe and he let Ravana be relieved of his hands being pressed under the mountain. Right? He was very pleased because he's our Lord Ashutosh. Ravana was causing all kinds of distress. He was extremely materialistic. We all know he's lusty. Whenever he sees a beautiful woman, he would just kidnap them. And not only that, he would kill the girl's family members. In this way, he took all the celestial damsels, many daughters of the rishis and many daughters of the kings. This way, Ramana was married to many, many thousands of women who were in this palace. Now, Ravana was flying with this Pushpak Viman, right? And an important thing to remember, Ravana defeated what? Kuvera. This Pushpak chariot belongs to whom? Kuvera. So when Ravana defeated Kuvera, he took away his chariot. The chariot could fly through the sky, Pushpak Viman, with the speed of the mind and following the dictations of the driver. That's what this chariot could do. Imagine, dear devotees, what Pushpak Viman has to do. It just can travel at the speed of mind. Imagine what speed it could travel at. And we can also see that this is not a small thing like a flying machine. It has unlimited space also. The chariot could assume the dimension according to the need, it seems. If one person was driving, it was according to the space, it will adjust itself. But if 20 people were there, want to come in the chariot, then it would expand. It would become bigger and bigger to accommodate more people. Like, for example, when Ramachandra wanted to go, he wanted to go to Ayodhya. He wanted to take all the monkeys with him. And all the monkeys fitted into that Pushpak Viman. And then while he was flying over Shkinta, he recalled, this is where the monkeys were, and this is where we spent the 4 months of Chaturmas on the Rishamukha mountain. And when he was telling this to Sita, Sita desired that all the monkeys' wives should come to Ayodhya with them. So Rama stopped the chariot, and all the monkeys' wives were also invited into this chariot, and then they flew to Ayodhya. So anyway, when the Pushpak was flying above the Himalayan mountain on the valley of the Himalayas, Ravana saw one extremely beautiful woman who was performing austerities all by herself. So Ravana wanted to kidnap her. So he went and asked, who are you? So she identified herself as Vedavati, the daughter of the king, who was actually performing the austerities and became a sage, and she wanted to have Supreme Personality of Godhead as her husband. And Ravana said, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You know what? I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you become my wife. She said, no. Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Narayana. I want to become his wife. When Ravana could not convince her, he tried to forcibly molest her. He grabbed her by her hair, but Vedavati, with her mystic power, she turned her hand into a sword and cut off that hair that Ravana was holding. She announced that now with the touch of this body, she's become contaminated, and with the body, I don't want to receive Narayana. Saying that, she entered into fire. She generated a fire from her body and she left her body. While leaving that body, she said, I will come back again and I will cause your death. And this Vedavati became Sita, daughter of King Janak. Again, I heard this part from His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So again, dear devotees, it's very interesting how Ramayana unfolds, right? And then in the course of time, Janaki, Janaki, that is Lord Sita, she was married to Ramachandra. And there was another arrangement by Yogamaya. And as a result of that, Ramachandra was banished to the forest for how many years? 15 years. Ramachandra had to go to the forest. And after that intrigue, he had to go to the forest, and Ravana stole Sita. He took her to Lanka. And then while searching for Sita, Ramachandra came across these monkeys in the Rishimka mountain, and he made friends with them. He made alliance with the king of monkeys, who is Sugriva, who was bereft of his wife and banished by his brother Vali, who stole away his wife. So then Rama actually killed Vali on behalf of Sugriva and made Sugriva the king of monkeys. And with that force, with that monkey soldiers, Ravana was being attacked in Lanka, right, by Lord Ramachandra. The battle continued for some time, and Ravana was so convinced that this one human being, he was very convinced with the wound that he got from Brahma. And he felt, in the eyes of him, according to him, human beings were insignificant. If demigods can't do anything, then what about human beings? What will they do to me? What will animals do to me? So he thought, the two human beings, a bunch of monkeys, what can they do to me? Right? He made a big calculation. He failed to recognize that a particular human being is the supreme personality of Godhead. Right? Now, we know Vasudeva and Sankarshan appeared as Rama and Lakshmana. So there was an attack on Lanka, and Ravana started to lose. Ravana, who was even defeating the demigods, what happened to him? He was getting defeated. Indrajit, he took Indra as a captive and brought him to Lanka, and therefore he got the name Indrajit. What is the meaning of it? The one who defeated Indra. And he was so powerful. He was so practically immortal. In Kumbhakarna, another personality, he was also powerful. Ravana's generals, all of them were powerful personalities. They could encounter with the demigods and easily could defeat the demigods. But these two human beings started to annihilate Ravana's entire army with a bunch of monkeys who didn't have any weapons to fight, unlike them. Ravana's soldiers, they were equipped with the most sophisticated weapons, dear devotees, which could actually deal with the demigods. But here, these monkeys didn't even have any sword or a spear or an arrow or a bow. They were just fighting, uprooting the trees, big boulders. That's what happens, right? When Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes empowered in most wonderful ways. They were empowered by Lord's internal potency, the Lord's spiritual potency. And these monkeys, they would throw stones at their enemies, and they were even more powerful than that of a thunder. They were killing Rakshasas in the thousands, by throwing stones at them. And of course, we have to remember that these monkeys, they are not ordinary personalities. Like, for example, Sugriva, when he saw Ravana, after building a bridge across the ocean, they came to Shubala mountain. From there, they could see Lanka from the top. He saw Ravana observing the situation from the northern gate of Lanka. And as soon as Sugriva saw that, what did he do? He jumped. He landed in front of Ravana. He gave him a smack. That Ravana's crown, what happened to it? It just went flying. Like it started to reel. Ravana, who was so powerful, that one smack of Sugriva almost made him faint. And of course, Ravana got back his composure. They started to fight. They started to wrestle with each other. And then they fell on the ground from the gate. And Ravana saw that Sugriva was very, very powerful. He could not defeat Sugriva. And he wanted to use his illusory energy. That's where he started to disappear. And Sugriva obviously saw that. He realized that now he's going to use his illusory energy to fight. He jumped back to Ramachandra. Rama was very upset with Sugriva. He said, you should not act in such hasty ways. You should not act irresponsibly. You're the king. What would have happened to you if you died? Then our whole mission would be lost. But without a king, you cannot fight the battle. So this is the point. These monkeys, they are not ordinary monkeys. They are different demigods appeared in the form of monkeys to confront Ravana. So this is how monkeys were causing a havoc to Ravana's kingdom. Right, dear devotees? Anyway, so now at the end of the big generals, all of them, they were dead. And Indrajit was also dead. Before that, Kumbhakarna was dead. Finally, we also see Indrajit is being dead. When Indrajit died, Ravana became completely worried, right? Because he had his confidence that monkeys are not going to be able to defeat him. That too with the help of human beings. But Indrajit, who's defeated even Indra, and he tied him up with a special rope, the Brahmastra. He used that Brahmastra as a rope and he brought Indra to Lanka. And it's due to Brahmaji's request that he released Indra. So the point here is he's so powerful, and now Ravana is looking at him and he's thinking, oh my God, he's dead. This is what he felt. Finally, Ravana came to fight himself on the battlefield. Ravana, of course, I'm cut shorting a lot of things here, but since I was under the impression I was going to talk Ramachandra's pastime, so we will definitely talk about Kaliya's pastime too. I mean, I want to definitely talk about Krishna's pastime maybe in the next class. There is so much relishment. For some reason, as I told you, I just lost Mataji's note to me. But anyways, it's good to have a recap of the story of Ramayana. So finally, now what happened? Ravana came to fight himself in the battlefield. Ravana appeared in the battlefield riding on his chariot, and Ramachandra was fighting against whom? Ravana, just standing on the ground on his foot, on his legs. Indra felt it's unfair. Ravana is fighting in the chariot, and Rama is fighting standing on his feet, just like a soldier, foot soldier. So he immediately sent his chariot, and his driver, Mataji, appeared. And he said, Indra has sent this fight. And this driver, the chariot driver, told him, Indra has sent this chariot to fight against Ravana. Ravana accepted this as a gift from Indra. He got into the chariot and started to fight with Ravana. And Ravana tried to cut the flag of Indra's chariot. But before the arrow could reach the shaft of the chariot, Rama released an arrow and deflected the arrow of Ravana. Ravana tried to kill those horses of Indra's chariot. He shot many arrows to the horses, but nothing happened. They're all celestial horses, right? So they were totally unaffected. Now, in this way, the fight ensued. Ravana was releasing so many arrows, and Ramachandra was hit by some of the arrows. But most of them, Ramachandra actually deflected using his own arrows. Finally, when Ravana saw that he cannot compete with Rama in this fair battle, he took shelter of his mystic powers again. And he made all kinds of weapons, all kinds of mountain tops, mountain peaks, and boulders that fell on Rama. Rama, with his arrows, shattered them. He just shot those boulders and everything shattered into pieces. And this battle, it got so exciting that all the demigods appeared in the sky and the sages appeared in the sky. The Gandharvas, the Kinnaras, Siddhas, Charanas, they all crowded on the sky. They were all spellbound. They were all stunned seeing this fight. And when the fight was going on in this way, Rama was releasing his arrows, and those arrows were cutting Ravana's head. But as soon as the head would fall on the ground, again another head would appear. In this way, Rama cut hundreds of Ravana's heads. But Ravana's heads, they were all still intact. Sometimes Ravana was fighting with 10 heads, and sometimes Ravana was fighting with one head, assuming his normal form. But Rama was finding it very difficult. So, at that time, Mataji, Indra's chariot driver, told Ramachandra, right? He told him, Ramachandra, why are you just fighting on your defense? Kill that person. Use your Brahmastra. You have the Brahmastra. And why aren't you using that Brahmastra? Now, then Rama, the Brahmastra which he received from Agastya Muni. And when he was in Dandakaranya, Agastya Muni gave him that Brahmastra. This Brahmastra is the feather of arrow and it's made with the feathers of Garuda. The tip of the arrow was empowered by the potency of Agni and the potency of the Meru mountain, and was invested, a lot of potency of the Meru mountain was invested into this arrow to create the gravity of the wave. And the shaft of the arrow was created by an ethereal element. So that is how Brahmastra was described. So just Rama, he placed an arrow on his bow. And in the meantime, inauspicious signs began to appear, right? So from nowhere, the cloud started to pour blood on Ravana. The vultures were following Ravana from behind. The jackals, they started to howl. And in the meantime, when Rama placed the arrow, all the monkeys, they became excited. And all the demigods, they became excited. Now, they all understood, yes, this demon is going to meet his end. Whereas all the Rakshasas, they started to fear, meaning there was a shake of fear in their hearts. They were trembling with fear. So Rama placed an arrow on his bow and he released that arrow. It went straight on Ravana's heart. That was where the nectar was there. It dried up the nectar and went straight to the center of the earth. And then from there, it came back to Ramachandra's steward. Ravana's body, what happened? Because his heart, Rama touched his heart and nectar was there in his heart. So now Ravana fell dead on the ground. So seeing that, the Rakshasas began to flee. They started to flee. And all the monkeys, they started to rejoice. Ravana's chief wives came, headed by Mandodari. Mandodari was crying, "My lord, why didn't you advise? Why didn't you listen to the advice of your well-wishers? They all told you to return." The wife of Ravana, she went to her husband and she started speaking. "Oh, why didn't you listen to your well-wishers? They all told you have to return the wife of Ramachandra to Lord Ram. If you did that, then probably we could have enjoyed your association for many, many more years to come. But just because of your arrogance, you did not listen to anybody. And see, now you're lying on the ground." Ramachandra now asked Vibhishan to do the final rites in the cremation of Ravana. Vibhishan refused. He said, "I didn't want to perform the cremation of a sinner like him who stole so many people's wives. And he also took your own consort away from you. I'm not going to perform this funeral." And Ramachandra told him, "Now he's dead. All those animosity should be over. You're the only remaining member of his family to perform his funeral, because all his sons are dead. Not a single family member is surviving except you, my dear Vibhishan." So finally, on hearing Rama's instruction, Vibhishan performed Ravana's funeral, and then Ramachandra coronated Vibhishan to have the throne of Lanka. And Sita was brought. Sita was waiting to see Ram, but Sita was surprised the way Ram wanted her to come to him. She had to walk like an ordinary woman. She was wondering. She was asking Hanuman, "Why is he treating like me? Why is he treating me like this? I've undergone so much trials and tribulations, and because of him, I was waiting for this day. And now this day has come. He's killed Ravana. He wants me to be in his way, come to him in this way as an ordinary woman." And then she came, and Ramachandra declared she will have to prove her chastity or purity. Sita was, although heartbroken, she was prepared. At the same time, her heart was completely shattered that why Ram is treating her like that. Lord Shiva and Brahma appeared and told Ram, "Why are you treating your eternal consort in this way?" Then Ramachandra said, "I am the king. I have to prove my sanctity as well as the sanctity of my wife to my citizens. And that's why before accepting her, I want her to go through this test." Although Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva vouched for Sita's purity, but still Ramachandra wouldn't listen to them. At that time, Brahma actually told him, "Rama, you forgot you are who you are. You are playing a role of a human being. You forgot that you are the supreme personality of Godhead. You are just behaving like an ordinary human being." And finally, he admitted that, "I know that this is your pastimes and you are playing the role in a most perfect way." And Sita entered into fire. At that time, Agni Dev appeared, sun god appeared, right? And Sita is pure. She's got another angle to this incident. When Ravana came to steal Sita, Sita took shelter of Agni, and because of this custom, that in the house, uh, they have the flame burning. So even the cottage of Ramachandra, this flame was burning. So Sita, finding no one to take shelter of, she took shelter of Agni Dev, and Agni Dev actually took Sita away and placed Maya Sita in her place. Maya Sita appeared in the place when Ravana kidnapped Sita. So Ravana did not see the real Sita. What to speak of steal Sita? Ravana cannot even touch Sita Devi. He actually stole Maya Sita, which is wonderfully revealed. It is wonderfully revealed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this fact. So Ravana, Agni Dev brought original Sita back to Ramachandra. So when Sita went to this apparent fire test, Maya Sita disappeared and original Sita appeared. So in this way, original Sita appeared, who's the eternal consort of the Lord, and they decided to go to Ayodhya. Because obviously the 14 years period was over, but Vibhishana requested Rama to stay in Lanka for a little longer. So Ramachandra compiled to Vibhishan, he just accommodated to Vibhishan's request and he stayed in Lanka for some time. Then they finally went to Ayodhya. And Vibhishan gave Ramachandra the Pushpaka chariot, right? So in the meantime, another thing happened. Soon after this battle was over, along with the demigods, Indra came and he said, Lord Ramachandra, although I know you are who you are, but still when I come, I grant some boon to whoever sees me. So please ask for a boon, Ramachandra. So Lord Ramachandra said, let all the monkeys come back to life. And wherever these monkeys reside, all the trees, let it become filled with fruits for their pleasure. And Indra said, although this is a very, very difficult boon to fulfill, I will do it only by your mercy. And this is how all the monkeys, those who died in the battle, fighting on behalf of Lord Ramachandra, they all came back to life. So this is how we see when we cite the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no matter what difficult task is, ultimately, not only we become victorious, even if we die in the battle, we will regain back our lives. So anything impossible in this world becomes possible by Lord's mercy. Anything impossible can become possible only by Lord's mercy. Otherwise, how can it happen? It cannot happen. So this is how we are not going to go into Ayodhya Kanda, but we'll stop with this to kind of relish the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra and how he defeated Ravana and what happened in between and how the monkeys, they regained their lives due to the mercy of the Lord. All this, I think we spoke, and with this, we will, of course, pause Ramachandra's pastimes. There is so much more to add. There is so much more details which I didn't go over because of lack of time. But I just thought, because 23 to 25 talked about Ramachandra's pastime, I just thought, let me just go over this in today's class. This was my agenda. And now, of course, talking about Krishna is always a pleasure, as you all know, dear devotees. And especially as we discussed, we all have read Srila Prabhupada's purports many, many times through Krishna's book, Krishna books, and Krishna stories from 10th canto. I think we definitely have to dive into our Acharya's purport and relish what they have to say, to look at the pastimes from a different view, and also enjoy the intricacies of the pastimes according to Acharya's moods. So we will definitely go through that, maybe in the next class, or I think we have some time. Do you think we can go over the Kaliya pastime for a little bit now and then continue through that in the next session? If that seems like an idea, I can always do that. Let me know your thoughts, dear devotees. Can we do that? A little bit of how he subdued Kaliya. Maybe just talk about it for 5 minutes. I don't think I can do any justice in 5 minutes, but let me try if that's what we can do. Let me know your thoughts.
Yes,
Can we do that?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. So, dear devotees, so here we are going to discuss about Kaliya's pastime. And now we all know how Krishna, he subdued Kaliya. We all know from Krishna book, we would have read when he understood that the water of Yamuna was being polluted by black serpent Kaliya, Krishna took action against him and he made him leave the Yamuna and go elsewhere. And thus the water became purified. Now, when the story was narrated by Sukadev Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit became eager to hear more and more about Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's childhood pastimes. He inquired from Sukadev Goswami how he chastised Kaliya, who was living in the water for many, many years. Actually, Parikshit Maharaj was becoming more and more enthusiastic to hear Krishna's transcendental pastimes, and this inquiry was made just because of his interest. And then Sukadev Goswami, he started to narrate the story of Krishna subduing Kaliya like this. So now he started to describe, yes, within the river of Yamuna, there was a lake. And in the lake, there was this black serpent Kaliya who used to live. And because of his poison, the whole area was contaminated and it was emanating a lot of poisonous vapor 24 hours a day. If a bird even happens to go past the spot, he would immediately fall down in the water and die. Due to this poisonous effect of Yamuna's water, the trees and the grass near the bank of Yamuna all had dried up. Lord Krishna, he saw this effect of the serpent's poison, and the whole river that ran before Vrindavan was now deadly. So Krishna, he advented himself just to kill the undesirable elements of this world. Immediately, what did he do? He climbed up a big Kadamba tree on the bank of Yamuna. The Kadamba tree was giving round yellow flowers. Generally, it's seen only in Vrindavan. After climbing to the top of the tree, he tightened his belt cloth and flapping his arms just like a wrestler, he jumped in the midst of the poisonous lake. The Kadamba tree from which the Krishna had jumped was the only tree that was not dead. Some commentators say that due to Krishna touching the lotus, due to touching the lotus feet of Krishna, the tree became immediately alive. Some commentators also say that point. In some other Puranas, it is stated that Garuda, the eternal carrier of Vishnu, knew that Krishna would take action in the future, so he put some nectar on this tree to preserve. This is also told in some Purana. So when Lord Krishna jumped into the water, the river overflooded its banks as if something large fell into it, has fallen into it. This exhibition of Krishna's strength is not at all uncommon because he is the reservoir of all strength. Right? When Krishna was swimming about just like a great strong elephant, he made a tumultuous sound, which great black serpent Kaliya could hear. This tumult was intolerable for him, and he could understand that this was an attack on his home. Therefore, he immediately came before Krishna. Kaliya saw that Krishna was indeed worth seeing because his body was so beautiful and so delicate. His color resembled that of a cloud, and his legs resembled that of a lotus flower. So he was decorated with a Srivatsa and his yellow garments. He was smiling with a beautiful face and playing in river Yamuna with great strength. But in spite of Krishna's beautiful features, Kaliya felt great anger upon him. He grabbed Krishna with his mighty coils. Seeing the incredible way in which Krishna was enveloped in the coils of the serpent, the affectionate cowherd boys and the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they immediately became very, very stunned out of fear. They dedicated everything to Krishna. Their lives, their property, everything was dedicated right at that moment. They became overwhelmed with fear and fell down on the ground. All the cows, the bulls, the small calves became overwhelmed with grief. They began to look at this with great anxiety. Out of fear, they would only cry in agony because they are unable to help the beloved Krishna. While the scene was taking place in the bank of Yamuna, there were ill omens that manifested. The earth trembled, the meteors, they fell from the sky, the bodies of the men, they shivered. And these were all indications of immediate danger. Observing this inauspicious omen, The cowherd man, including Maharaj Nanda, they became anxious in fear. At the same time, they informed that Krishna had gone to the pasteurizing ground without his elder brother Balaram. As soon as Nanda and Yashoda and the cowherd men heard this news, they became very, very anxious. Out of great affection for Krishna and unaware of this extent of Krishna's potencies, they became overwhelmed with grief and anxiety. Because according to them, nothing is dearer than Krishna. They dedicated their entire life, property, mind, everything to Krishna. Because of this attachment for Krishna, they thought today Krishna is surely going to be vanquished. And the inhabitants came out of the village to see Krishna. Their assembly consists of whom all young men, old men, women, animals, and the living entities. They know Krishna is the only means of their sustenance. While this was happening, Balaram, who's the master of all knowledge, stood simply smiling. He knew how his younger brother Krishna was, and there was no need to be in anxiety. When Krishna was fighting with an ordinary serpent of the material world, what is the need for anxiety? He did not therefore personally take any part of their concern. On the other hand, if you look at the Vrindavan residents, they were all being disturbed and they began to search for Krishna. And, now they see that Krishna is wrapped in the coils of the black serpent. They became overwhelmed with grief. While Balaram, he was looking at this and he was smiling to see their lamentation, and all the inhabitants of Rajamumi, they became merged with grief because they thought Krishna is going to be finished today. Although they do not know about Krishna, much about Krishna, their love for them is simply beyond comparison. As soon as they saw Krishna was in the Yamuna river enveloped by serpent Kaliya, the boys and the cows started to lament. They began to think about Krishna's smiling face. They began to think about Krishna's friendship, how his sweet words, how he was dealing with them. Thinking of all this and believing Krishna was now in the clutches of Kaliya, they at once felt that the whole of these three worlds became vacant. Lord Chaitanya also said that he was seeing the three worlds as vacant for want of Krishna. We feel the world is filled with so many nice, good things, but they do not feel anything without Krishna, nothing for them. They feel the world is vacant without Krishna. This is the highest stage of consciousness. Amongst almost all the inhabitants of Vrindavan had this highest ecstasy, that is the love for Krishna. When Mother Yashoda arrived, she wanted to enter into river Yamuna, and being checked, seeing Krishna, she fainted. And other friends who were equally aggrieved were shedding tears like torrents of rain. But in order to bring Mother Yashoda to consciousness, they began to speak loudly about the transcendental pastimes of Krishna. Mother Yashoda, she remained still dead because her consciousness was concentrated on the face of Lord Krishna. And Nanda and all others dedicated everything, including their lives, for Krishna. They're ready to enter into the waters of Yamuna. But Balaram checked them. There's no danger. Do not have to enter into the river. For 2 hours, Krishna remained like an ordinary child gripped in the coils of Kaliya. But when he saw the inhabitants of Goloka, including his mother and father and the gopis and the boys and the cows, were put on the point of death, and they had to take, when he saw that they were going to do ready to do anything for him, Krishna immediately freed himself. He began to expand his body, and then when the serpent tried to hold him, he felt a great strain. On the account of the strain, his coil slackened, and he had no other alternative. And because of this, Kaliya had to let go or let loose of the personality of Godhead from his grasp. Kaliya became very, very angry, and his hoods expanded and expanded. He exhaled poisonous fumes from his nostrils. He blazed like a fire. The great serpent, he remained still for some time, looking at Krishna. Licking his lips with his bifurcated thumbs, the serpent looked at Krishna with double hoods, and his eyesight was full of poison. And Krishna immediately pounced upon him, just as Garuda sweeps upon a snake. he attacked Kalia, looked at an opportunity to bite him, but Krishna would move around from him. So Kalia is trying to look for an opportunity to bite Krishna, but what did he do? He moved around him. And Krishna and Kalia, they moved around in a circle. And the serpent gradually became fatigued, and his strength seems to diminish considerably. Krishna, he pressed down the serpent's foot and jumped upon them. Lord's lotus feet became tinged with red from the rays of the jewels of the snake's hoods. This is what happened. Upon seeing this, the demigods, they began to shower flowers, beat the drums, played different types of musical instruments. We see that the denizens of heavens were there, Gandharvas, Siddhas, Charanas, and the demigods, they became very, very pleased because of this act. While Krishna was dancing, Kalia tried to push him down, and some of his hoods, Kalia had about 100 hoods, but Krishna took control of all of them. He began to dash Kalia with his lotus feet, and this was more than what a serpent could bear. Right? So gradually, Kalia was reduced to struggling for his life. He vomited all kinds of refuse and exhaled fire. While throwing up poisonous material from within, Kalia became reduced in the sinful reaction. Out of great danger, he began to struggle for existence and tried to raise his hoods to kill the Lord. The Lord immediately captured the hood, subdued it by kicking and dancing on it. It actually appeared as if the Supreme Personality of Godhead was being worshipped. The poison that is emanating out of his mouth, the serpent appeared. It appeared as if they were giving out some flower offerings to the Lord. So Kalia began to vomit blood instead of poison. He was completely fatigued. And then his body appeared to be broken by the kicks of the Lord. With this mind, however, he finally began to understand Krishna is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he began to surrender to him. In this way, of course, then the part of the wives, Nagapatnis, come into play. And their prayers also play a role. There's so much more, of course, dear devotees, but I just thought let me give a glimpse of Kalia's pastimes to you because today's subject was pertaining to Kalia. We will also relish Acharya's purport at some point with the blessings of them so that we understand the nth canto pastimes in detail. At the end of the day, we have to do smaran, and this smaran has to be on the 10th canto pastimes. And when can that happen? If we hear it again and again and again, that is when smaran happens. So let's all pray, dear devotees, for our acharyas and Krishna bless us to be able to hear more and more pastimes of Krishna so that smaran happens for us on a regular basis. And let that period of smaran extend and extend every day that we indulge in. Okay, let's pray to all of them and get the blessings of our acharyas, Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. And obviously, when the day comes when we start to relish and remember Krishna's pastimes more and more, that day will be a very, very fruitful day in our life. Okay. Thank you, dear devotees, for bearing with me and giving me this opportunity to talk Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's adjourn for today. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav vrind ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta vrind ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I just went 5 minutes over in today's call.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. Very beautiful pastime of Lord Ramachandra and of the Kalia serpent. Mataji, one thing I would like you, if you can clarify, was Ravana offering his head to Lord Brahma or to Lord Shiva? Because some commentators said that he was offering his head to Lord Shiva because he was a great bhakta of Lord Shiva. I'm not sure here. To whom, Brahma or Shiva?
Yes, Mataji. I think a lot of commentaries talk about him offering his head to Lord Shiva, as you mentioned. But again, I can get you the source and definitely clarify what that offering is. And again, from an ISKCON perspective, what do we believe in? I'll get you quoted, Mataji, on that. I do have several books. I'll definitely get back to you on that.
Thank you, Mataji. Also,
sure,
Vedavati, Vedavati, she was reborn as Padmavati. And then she was not the actual Sita. She was a Chaya Sita. She was a fake Sita that Ravan took. Because she was praying to become the consort of the Lord. And then when she didn't get the opportunity, during the exile, she was feeling the separation as if she was a wife of Lord Ramachandra. Because our actual Sita is Mother Lakshmi. Right? She's always present in the abode of the Lord. Yeah. So many commentators and so many things, Mataji. I think we should also try to think about like the logical, like some people say that Lord Rama killed Parashurama. That never happened because an incarnation of the Lord cannot come to kill another incarnation of the Lord, right?
No.
So,
Definitely, Mataji. So we take this expert only from our Guru Vargas because so because again with our commentary, Ramayana commentary is not much elaborated in detail. So we take whatever our Guru Vargas say, be it Radhanath Maharaj or any other Maharajas when they talk about it. As you rightly mentioned, Vedavati, she became Maya Sita. And then during the fire offering, that's when the real Sita comes and they both go back to Ayodhya. So all this is being clarified only by them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known. And this was brought up by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastimes. So that's how we know that this is in fact the case.
The Lord would never kind of think bad about his wife because he knows how chaste the Lord, Mother Sita is. Now, what he did, he didn't look at Chaya Sita. He didn't look. He was kind of ignoring Chaya Sita. He wanted Chaya Sita to go in the fire and the real Mother Sita coming out of the fire. That's why he never asked for Mother Sita to go to prove her chastity in the fire. Actually, the Vedavati herself, she says, bring the fire because she knew now her time is over. Lord Rama will not accept her. She has to go back. So she asked to get into the fire so that the real Sita can come out. It's very beautiful, but we have different like we have Tulsidas and we have Valmiki Ramayana, which are different. But we should use our common sense. Thank you.
This one we because again Ramana cannot touch the real Sita. How can how can that they clarified so nice.
He would be burned to death if he touches real Sita.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no questions or comments, thank you. We can ask Prasanna Sanatma Das Prabhuji to close the session today. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
I think it's past the time.
Sorry, my bad luck, my phone, sorry. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful pastimes. Very sweet nectar. Thank you so much for the inspiring class. Without taking so much time, I'd request all the devotees to please appreciate the wonderful nectar by Mataji today by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra in glorification of her grace. Radhika Kasturi Mataji. Let's join and chant. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Namo Namaha. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णवी की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, एल्डोरेस यात्रा की जय, Radhika Kasturi Mataji की जय.
All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Hare
Krishna. I never even tasted.